Let all mortal flesh keep silence, and with fear and trembling stand. Ponder nothing earthly minded, for with blessing.
Last week I began looking at the little book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. If you didn't hear that, Viktor Frankl was a psychologist, psychiatrist who was also a Holocaust survivor, and he wrote about his experiences in the concentration camp from the perspective of a student of human behavior. And this little book is actually two parts, and the part we care about is called Experiences in a Concentration Camp. And this little book has become a worldwide bestseller, a very influential book, and worthy of our study. Even though he was not a Christian, he tells us a lot about ourselves and our humanity. There are a number of touch points with Christianity, which I think may be useful to us in these days. So last week I took out a few quotes from Frankl, in which he noted that even in a concentration camp, a person does have freedoms. The last of the few human freedoms, he notes, is the ability to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. And so this week I want to pick up that theme and carry it a little bit further along with Frankl's thoughts. And so he notes that the way the prisoners bore their sufferings was a genuine inner achievement. It is this spiritual freedom which cannot be taken away that makes life meaningful and purposeful. So he wants to tell us that even as we suffer in our own very minor way compared to those in the concentration camps, the way that we bear our sufferings can be a genuine inner achievement, especially when we seek the grace of God during these times in order to have the strength to choose what is good and true and beautiful. And in doing that, in making those kinds of choices, we give a meaning and a purpose to our life that it would not ordinarily have. It's a meaning that springs from the life and death of Christ and the way he bore his sufferings as well. And so there are many parallels here between the pure humanity of Frankl's study and Christianity, which is living a fully human life. There is nothing about Christianity that is contrary to being fully human. We know this because we proclaim that Jesus was not only fully God, but fully human. And so being fully human means to live a Christian life. And so whatever Frankl says about being fully human would also apply to us as Christians. And then a few paragraphs later, Frankl has some wonderful insights. He notes that suffering is an ineradicable part of life, even as fate and death. Without suffering and death, human life cannot be complete. The way in which a person, accepts his fate and all the suffering it entails, the way in which he takes up his cross, gives him ample opportunity, even under the most difficult circumstances, to add a deeper meaning to his life. It may remain brave, dignified, and unselfish, or he may forget his human dignity and become no more than an animal. What great insights for us today as we respond to this pandemic? Are we choosing to be, to add meaning to our lives, to care for those around us, to choose the loving, or are we choosing to hoard toilet paper or to be selfish, to be concerned only with ourselves, and in doing so become simply no more than an animal without a soul, without the ability to choose that which is good and true. And I love this parallel, of course, with Christianity, in which Frankl says the way in which we take up our cross can add meaning to our lives or not. And so this week's reflection, I encourage us to think about that as we take up our cross. Do so knowingly that we are adding meaning to our lives, that we are walking the steps of Christ in all that we do, and we can bring joy and light into the world regardless of our circumstances or not. Well, next week I will probably have my final thoughts about some of the things that Frankl has written, some very profound thoughts about life that I'd like to share with you. But I hope you found this week's also meaningful for you.